ng iyong mga mata. Tara na tayo'y lumaban na. Huwag na magsayang ng oras, kung ito ang simula ng wakas. Sasa nating tanggalin ang mga bakas, bago pa maglaho ang lakas, bago pa maging baliko ang batas. Ganyan ba gusto nyo? Huwag nyo kaming pigilan. Mga kabataan, mamulit nga kayo. Magwawagi ang katotohanan. Mawawala na kayo sa trono. Kung dumating ang panahon na tayo wala ng tinig, manatiling nakatindig upang ang bayan ay umahon. Oras na para gumising ka. Subukan nating buksan ang iyong mga mata. Tara na tayo'y lumaban na. Huwag na magsayang ng oras, kung ito ang simula ng wakas. Sasa nating tanggalin ang mga bakas, bago pa maglaho ang lakas, bago pa maging baliko ang batas. Ano? Mamulit ka nga. Kabigo hindi sa pato pang minto. Lumamatawag yakapin ang mali, isigaw ang kamalian. Kubirang trapo, huwag sirain na kasaysayan. Atin ang bayan, pati ang kalangitan. Tara na't sumama ka, dugo mo yung maharlika. Uy, ang yaman na nila oh. Sa bilis ng pangyayari, hindi mo na namalayan. Bangulupat kayamanan ang kanilang hawak. Wala ka man namang gagawin. Mahirap madilim ang daan. Kahit ano pa yan, kahit sino pa yan, kaya natin lampasan. Oras na para gumising ka. Subukan nating buksan ang iyong mga mata. Tara na tayo'y lumaban na. Huwag na magsayang ng oras, kung ito ang simula ng wakas. Sasa nating tanggalin ang mga bakas, bago pa maglaho ang lakas, bago pa maging baliko ang batas. Luluhod mamamatay para sa inang bayan. Ika'y aming susubaybayan. Ikaw ako sa atin ito, kaya samahan mo na ko.
Little gestures comes along. Stand up with courage. Stand with us. Taste every moment. Seize every opportunity. Stand for what is right. Be part. Express yourself with espresso glasses. To taste is to believe.
Welcome to People Behind the People podcast. This is your host, Hobie and Sena. And today we have three controversial people that will give us the truth behind every controversy that surrounds them. Without further ado, let me introduce Mr. Banaag, Miss Bergonia, and unfortunately our dear President, Ferdinand Majada Narcos Jr. cannot make it as usual. So, our House of Representatives, Miss Centeno, will be filling it. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay, now that everybody's settled in, let us begin. Mr. Banaag, what do you think are the steps to have better education here in the Philippines or improve the education system in our country?
Well, I would handle this as giving more budget to DepEd and CHED. as they are the ones who run the education system.
What are your solution to these kinds of issue?
Well, other countries have lessened their hours compared to us. These countries eliminated having homework and more are focused on skills and not just being a factory worker. I would recommend a reform of the education system in this case.
Thank you for that answer. I also agree with the reform and the lesson hours. Now, how about you, Miss Bergonia? What do you think are the possible causes of having social isolation?
Well, for one, people tend to isolate themselves because they have different points of views in life.
For you, being alone is good for us people?
No, it's exactly the opposite. No man is an island. We cannot run on our own. We need help from different people.
How can you stop these kinds of issue?
Well, for one, going to therapy is a possible option. But not all can afford a therapist, so we might need a budget to surround different parts of the Philippines with the therapists to help those people in need.
Indeed, not just the social class can benefit from having a therapist. Anyways, going back to you, Mr. Banaag, people may not be aware of what is happening in our country. What will be your solution for them to have an interest when it comes to politics?
First of all, some people are naturally born apolitical that have no interest whatsoever. But if we encourage them enough, their small gestures affect the life of other people. We might convince them.
Very well said, Mr. Senator. For you, Ms. Centeno, vote buying is a very common when it comes to politics. Do you think that it is normalized in our country? And do we need to stop it?
Well, it is much indeed normalized in our country. There is no harm in stopping it. I trust the people using unity to unify their minds, who is the one that we need to elect. After all, this country is a republic and runs on democracy.
So you're saying that we don't need to stop vote buying?
Yes.
So you are also a big part of the current president's campaign. Do you think that it benefited you giving the people quote-unquote money inside an envelope?
Well, it is not vote buying.
I didn't say it was vote buying in the first place.
Next question, please. I don't see the point of this.
How can you encourage young people to trust you?
Again, this has nothing to do anything with the president. This is all nonsense.
Okay, let's move on again to a totally different topic. I might hit a nerve with the spokesperson. When it comes to governance, again, Ms. Centeno, do you think we have better governance in this time?
Yes, totally. The world united in one will always be better. Our GDP, or gross domestic product, reaches highest peak.
Last question for all of our guests. Me, as a journalist slash host, it is mind-boggling how many reporters are threatened as a public figure. How can you prevent red tagging in our country?
We must eliminate all of the public figures that are trying to shut the people up.
The people have the right to speak, as it is a basic human right. We have the freedom of speech. Anyone who stops it must be thrown into jail.
Red tagging doesn't exist. It's just like hocus pocus.
Very satisfactory answers. It is a pleasure to talk and be with one of the persons running our nation. This has been your host, Hobie and Sena, and this was People Behind the People podcast. Good night and thank you. Thank you. Thank you.